For me, when I think UNESCO Festival, and this hall is a really special venue, special public. I know also the importance of the festival. It's one of the main European festivals, but even more, it's really, I feel that the people really is waiting this period of the year and so many incredible concerts. So I think it's a privilege to be here. For me, the festival in UNESCO means especially this venue, because I perform only. I know that you also perform in a, and for me it's something really magic, something special, something, I don't know, it's, I play many concerts, many countries, but this is also because the architecture is so special. I don't know, a festival, first thing, especially for a festival, in a festival is successful also when people come to listen. I think your festival is very successful. So it means that there is a sort of spiritual message, because people can also stay at home and listen a CD or the radio, and even sometimes even more calm, they don't spend anything. But again, the importance of live music and to live together something that has a strong meaning for your country, for example, for this town. And I'm happy that this, again, in a life where, in a moment where everything seems to be virtual, we are all slaves of mobile phones, or again, maybe one of the remaining moments, and I would say ritual moments, because we lost many rights, and is again the classical concert. And when a classical concert is good, people like, because a concert can be also boring. I would say that it happens also quite often. But when it happens that is a very good concert, the public enjoy, I think it's a unique moment that you cannot be a virtual moment. And I think this is why people again want and expect a festival like this.
Tell us a bit about the Haydn tonight. What is special about the Oratorium?
I would say that this music is very demanding. Also technically for the orchestra, and I think it's quite complex, Haydn, but Haydn has always a positive, let's say, charge, a message. And say, of course, I'm tired, but also positively tired. Anyway, so it's really the characteristic of the music of Haydn, in Mozart also, to be, that it gives a lot in terms of positive energy. But I would say the variety of the solutions. I also speak about the strategy of composition. So each composer has strategy, how, especially when you have vocal music. So someone provides you a text, or you find a text, and you can see how different composers manage the strategy to communicate the feeling of the text, and of course to build such long form, because I think it's even longer than the creation, the first Oratorio by Haydn, his most famous creation. This is the second, and I think I'm admired how he was able to manage to have always, I would say, high quality music in for 3 hours. I think it's like this is the length of the piece, and there are some, especially some numbers are incredible, especially, and so funny. Also, there is always a lot of Haydn combined a sort of deepness and lightness together. And if I think, for example, the area of the dog that's hunting, and it's so incredible and so funny from the other side, because it's the portrait of the dog looking for an animal and hunting. And from one side, you can see how the hand of Haydn was sure as a composer. On the other side, there is a sort of humor, irony, and lightness that I adore. And I would say it's quite close to the Italian feeling, how we see things, where things are always, often mixed, the tragic, the comic, and so on. And Haydn is a perfect example of this attitude.
It's like in life, right?
Yes,
and,
absolutely. I think something that maybe the Romantic time lost later, but this is like in Mozart, when you have Don Giovanni, Nozze di Figaro, Così fan tutte, the free Italian. So it's the most beautiful music, but also that speaks about important things of life, for example, relations, but always with a sort of a small smile, even when it's tragic. And this combination of these aspects of life is very characteristic of the, let's say, I would say 18th century, and especially Mozart and Haydn, that took also from opera buffa many things. I think we don't have to forget that Pergolesi was a great example, and Napolitan opera was really the source for the Austrian composer. And especially, we have to remember that Pergolesi died in the 30s of the 18th century. But this style was developed and had a huge success in all Europe, and was the starting point also for the Austrian composer like Mozart and Haydn, of course developed in a very personal way.
Why Il Giardino? Why in 1985 the need for this ensemble?
Well, you know, in the beginning we were three musicians, and I was 20, so, and was the idea to just make music together. My instrument is the recorder, the Baroque flauto dolce, and the idea is just to make music, to prepare sonatas, Handel, Vivaldi, and then step by step, the project became more important. We started to do Vivaldi with oboe, violin, bassoon, and we saw that we start to cultivate some ideas, how, especially with Italian music, that in that time started to be successful in the concert scenario in Europe. So really, we had more success in general abroad, not in Italy. And so it was a long story. I sometimes also asked to myself, it was a sort of magic story, because I have to say I never imagined that to build such long, together with my colleagues, of course, long story that I would say is again today very alive and very, very fresh, even if we are not no more so young like 40 years ago.
What does it take to be a musician in Il Giardino? How do you choose the musicians?
Hey, that's a very difficult question. First, I think when I see, of course, there are musicians that play since many years. There are also musicians that play from 30 years here, but also, as you saw, also young musicians. And you know, I go with instinct, just understanding if there is a sort of musical link attitude to this style. I have to say that many young musicians listen also Giardino Armonico, even the generation of the 40s, when people, the musicians are 40 years old, and and even younger. And of course, and then the second element in choosing a musician is the attitude. So we are a group that we make a lot of rehearsals. We are absolutely in the music, and so the idea that if you come here, you have to participate 100%, I would say, with your soul in this research that never ends. Today we did, again after 5 concerts, we did almost 2 hours of rehearsals, and just to improve and this was always the method of Giardino Armonico. Never stop, even when we reach a sort of success, and again, don't stop, improve and change.
What is Haydn 2032?
Haydn 2032 is quite a crazy project, because you know, it's the project to perform and record all the Haydn symphonies. We are now in the middle of the project. Was published now the 14 volumes. We are already recorded until 18. And so the rhythm of the project is to have every year 2 moments where we record and play, let's say 3 symphonies or 4, and another period again. And for me, and I think for the group, it's an incredible discovery, because Haydn, you know, the Haydn symphonies in general is a repertoire that is not so well known, and I would say that in general there are 20, 25 symphonies that are more or less performed even from symphony orchestra, but there are many other, there are 107. And I would say that even when I took some new symphonies that I didn't know before, and I opened the score, in the first moment I'm not sure if this is a good music, but that's the great thing, that always I discover things that are hidden in Haydn music. And to say that from my point of view, there are many things that are not so evident for someone. I would say that Mozart is much more evident. I don't say that it's banal. I would say that the beauty of Mozart immediately comes to our ears. And in Haydn, there is, from a certain point of view, more interesting beauty. That because as an interpreter we have discovered, and when it happens, as an incredible discovery. But this cooperation, let's say, between performers and music must be much more strong than in other repertoire. I would say that the Haydn music depends much more than other music from the interpretation. And it's quite similar with Italian Baroque music. Vivaldi can be incredible music, or even can sound very banal. And how match the interpreter, can understand, can rebuild things, also the aspect of improvisation, the colors, and it's very similar approach, Italian Baroque music and Haydn. For me, generosity toward the music, I would say, to give our time and to be in contact with the composers, I would say also persons that lived 200, 250 years ago, 300, but in a way that are again alive. When we make music, I have the impression, and I think that when I understood something, I have the impression that I'm speaking with the composer. But this requires, and I'm not saying that I'm right, just, but this requires a lot of time. And we say that, you know, there are not so many ensembles, not so many groups that really give time to the music, especially in the last years. There is, okay, they do 1 day, 2 days of rest, that's done. You need to give time. I would say generosity for me, if I think in music, is also to sacrifice your time of your life, but to do one of the best things. So for me, it's not a great sacrifice because I like to do. But on the other side, can be a sort of generosity. And then, of course, generosity is toward the public. I would say that for me, each concert, I think that when I do concert, for me, I'm living something that, like I'm doing the last thing in my life in that moment. Maybe it can sound a bit dramatic, but say the most important thing in this moment. Could seem automatic, but it's not so automatic. There is a sort of routine, and sometimes also we have routine. But this idea, okay, we are here, we did thousands of kilometers. There is also economical, say, a lot of money to organize festival. People come. So it's a special situation, and you must be generous to do what you are able, the maximum you can do. Classical music is strange. It's a strange definition because what is, okay, also in literature, what is classic? Oh, okay, we think maybe Shakespeare is a classic. Okay, something that will last forever, that was 200 years ago and is today, and I think it's the same thing even today, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, but also I would say that since many years now there is a much more repertoire that is performed. I'm thinking, for example, Renaissance repertoire, and Josquin des Prés, Palestrina, or even Middle Age, music of Middle Age. Is this classical music? I don't know, to be honest. It's music. And I would say that I think the quality music, and I would say that also we live in a moment there are much more mixture. And also there are musicians that want to show that similarity. For example, if you take improvisation in Baroque music, or the way how you play Baroque music that is sometimes similar to the in jazz music, the swing, that you never play ta 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 ta, you play do da 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 da. So there are things that return in the history of music. Of course, different styles, different times, different instruments, but things often are very circular in a way. So, what is classical music? I think it's good music. I would say that probably even Beatles are classical music.